Hello there, and welcome to Sweet Child of Time, a podcast where we introduce a sweet child to Amazon's Wheel of Time. I'm your host, Steve Barnes. We were listening to Champagne Ranger. That song is called Beyond. These guys are from Austin, Texas. Just got one EP out right now. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it everywhere. They're fellow DistroKid mates. Made for mind travel. That's what their music is, and that's exactly what I use it for. That's what I listen to when I'm reading books at night usually, is I listen to Champagne Ranger, Astral Construct, bands such as this. So thanks a lot for sending that in, guys. I appreciate it, and I can't wait to meet y'all. Let me get going here with my next guest. He's not a guest. He's always here. He's a host. I couldn't do this show without him, y'all. This show would be very boring without my co-host. I see you, James.
I see you as well, Intro Void.
Oh, yes. I forgot Marshland Monster. And let me say your last name so everybody knows I'm talking to James McCullum here on a St. Patrick's Day.
Ooh.
Does the McCullum have anything to do with St. Patrick's Day? Or, I mean, being Irish at all?
McCullum is more, I believe, Scottish, but my other last name, McCormick, that's Irish through and through.
All right. I don't know crap about St. Patrick's Day or Irish. I don't drink. I just went to O'Reilly's and got a quart of oil, and that was my St. Patrick's Day for me.
Oh, you went there today?
Yeah, you need quarts of oil every day.
I don't think you should check your car, sir. But did they have any whatchamadoos?
Well, they have a green
discounts.
Oh, not that I noticed. If they did, I turned a blind eye to it.
St. Patrick's Day sale.
I turned a blind eye to all that. I just went and got what I needed, and there you go. And it was a green quart. I got the green one because I wanted to stay festive.
Hell yeah. Can't be pinched if you're pouring green oil.
No, sir.
But it's not dyed green. They put algae in there to make it green. That's a Chicago-specific reference.
I was talking more about, I got the Pennzoil, which has the green quart bottle. So that's what I was referring to, not the actual oil itself. I hope it's a nice brownish color. Yeah, we know each other. We like
oil didn't do what Heinz did when Shrek came out and it's like, it's green ketchup.
Oh my God, that was the worst idea ever.
It's so weird that both those ketchups did not change the taste of it, but when I, as a kid, ate it, I was like, this tastes strange, guys.
Yep, because your mind plays that trick on you. It makes you think you're eating relish or something.
Or wasabi, and whatever condiment comes purple. Oh, Grimace, that's who comes purple.
Yuck.
Yes.
No, that's out of here. Because this is the first 10 minutes. A wise podcaster once told me that you don't say anything dirty in the first 10 minutes of a podcast. And I think that was you that told me that.
No, cum is anything. Like, I don't think an algorithm, just a robot, any curse words I think they would pick up. But hey, come over here as a wise Mortal Kombat. Yeah, come over here. He is talking about, pleasuring himself.
No, he's not. He wants to do a decapitation.
Yeah, he's talking about other people. He's directing the orgy to say, like, come over here, and then you come over there.
Let me direct the conversation away and back into books.
Books, check them out. Books, check them out. Pick up a book. You got a fantasy? Imagination can take you to where you want to be. Are you curious? How can you find out? Books, check them out. Books, check them out. Read about stars and cars, play electric guitars, or cops that work hard, patrolling the boulevard, the heavyweight champ and as crazy as bout. Books, check them out. Books, check them out.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and slip into the book corner real quick, James, because I have an exciting update. I finished The Knife of Dreams last night. Huzzah! My Wheel of Time heads know how it ended. It was no spoilers. It was an ending, just like any other ending in the Wheel of Time. So I'm happy to move on to the next book.
Scorpion would sometimes slip into the book corner as well.
I would like my friend James, my regular human friend, to slip into the book corner and say, what you've been reading this week.
I started reading it. I'm excited for Kirby because Kirby has the first ever truly 3D platformer that he has ever put out, Kirby and the Forgotten Lands.
Nice.
And Nicole has been purchasing the manga for me, but I haven't gotten around to reading it. I was like, you want to know what? I'm reading that today. So I started the first chapter and I was like, I don't think I like this because one, Kirby can talk, and two, in this first issue, he accidentally inhales at a picnic what they call in the this child's manga loopy juice, which is just alcohol.
Nice.
And it seems like they want me to read it as like, yeah, get over here, King DDD. I gotta tell you a story. And it's like, that's not, or like, oh yeah, get over here. And it's, we keep, if we named episodes, this episode would say, come over here or get over here. But I'm glad I pushed through that first chapter and got into the second one because it's just Beauty and the Beast, but King Dedede gets turned into a toy and Kirby is like the beauty in this story. Huh. So I'm like, okay, it's back to being weird and cute opposed to creepy and disgusting.
Huh. So will you back up and give me the title and the author of the book that we're discussing here?
I would have to go get it. It's the Kirby Mania manga. Mania manga. It is written by and illustrated by Hirokazu Hikawa. And yeah, it's just this weird manga.
It sounds fun. I love those books. Do you have to read it like backwards or you read it full? Oh yeah. I had a few of those in my time. That's not my normal reading style, but like when I pick one of those up, they're usually fun.
Yeah, it's cute, but also that first story, I think I just wasn't prepared for it. I thought it was going to be like this super cute because flipping through the pages, I'm like, oh, this is cute and whimsical, not, again, creepy and weird.
I was watching a creepy, weird guy playing Kirby last night, as a matter of fact.
That was me.
I got blocked from the chat. Did you block me from the chat last night? Or did maybe Goose did that? Like after a certain point, I wasn't able to chat anymore. It said I was disconnected from chat. So I Googled it and did all the things it told me to do. And I just gave up and hung up.
So sometimes like an auto mod will block you if you say, sometimes it's like, oh, if you send links or if you post, like you spam it a bunch, it'll disconnect. Or if you say naughty words. I said
that the goose has been put to the barn, so to speak. And that's the last thing I was able to type. So maybe they thought I was speaking naughty talk, which I, was making funny references is all.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. You should have went over to like YouTube and chatted on there.
Welcome back to Twitch Talk, y'all. We're doing the Twitch Tech Corner over here. So yeah, I'll just uninstall the app and reinstall it and try again next time. Mm-hmm. Those are fun. Those are perfect timing. Usually when you start those up, because I'm usually at the skating rink waiting for Charlotte to finish up. So I'm just hanging out, looking at my phone, and I see that, somebody's doing a Twitch stream, and it's your handle on that is mostly speaking Sentai. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right on. Yep. So that's what I check out when I'm sitting there waiting, because what else am I going to do? Look at them skating around? Hell no.
Is this a ice rink or a roller rink?
Roller rink.
Okay.
Yeah, so they got the place to themselves to do all their practice, but then like the session opens up at 6:30 p.m. and that's when the public comes in and they start piling in, and the public sits around and waits for the kids to finish their routines and stares at them and paces back and forth angrily until they start the hip hop music up, and then everybody descends on the floor and boogies the night away.
Hell yeah.
So we're going to do the same over here, James. We have finished Book Corner. I think it's time to move on to Wheel of Time talk. Is that correct?
That, I think, is what we normally do.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like we're getting into this very early, but we're just going to go ahead and do it. We got cut short last week. We had Titanosaur on, and I think it might have been, it's probably Steve Barnes' fault that we got a little behind. But so we're going to pick up on episode 3, A Place of Safety. We're about the 20-minute mark. And what we last discussed with Jeff from Titanosaur, we were last discussing Perrin having his strange dream, and then he wakes up and he's being chased by the wolves with Egwene. That's the last scene we discussed in the last episode. So we're going to pick up now with Mat and Rand. And this is how we're going to do this, James. We have 3 storylines going here. We got Mat and Rand, we got Perrin and Egwene, and then we got Nynaeve, Moraine, and Lan. So we're just going to talk about Mat and Rand all the way through right now, okay?
All right, hell yeah.
I don't know if that's going to change your note order or not. It is going to change my note order, but I think it would probably work a lot better this way. Mm-hmm. Word. All right. So the first time we see Mat and Rand, first words I think out of Mat's mouth is, shit is cold. I mean, you know, funny talk, funny guys. Beautiful scenery, but they walk upon that village. There's a fella in a cage, and he's dead. Whoops. Let me repeat that over. Placement is key. What the hell is happening here with this notebook? I'm just not going to be able to see your face, James. That's just the way it's going to go.
You literally took your notebook, put it around one side of the mic stand, then over the top of the mic stand,
yes,
just to end up exactly where you started.
Well, I don't care anymore. I don't care if you don't see me and I don't see you. I just want to see my notes. But that means I won't be able to see you yawning, and I won't be able to see you rolling your eyes at me and stuff like that. So feel free to make all those facial tics where you're like shaking your fist at me and making like the cut across your throat sign, like, Steve, next time I see you, I'm going to kill you.
I'll just start audibly making my normal gestures on the face.
That'll be just like last week, because I could not see you or Jeff last week.
Wait, you couldn't?
No.
All right.
I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want to appear to be more of a fool than I actually am.
Wow.
Well, yes, so here we go. We got beautiful scenery except for the guy in the cage. This guy was put in this box/cage, tortured and taunted by the people of this town. I'm glad we didn't have to see that scene. But we're hearing like some harmonica music, some Dalton Wilcox theme music. Sounds like the Wild West out there. Mat spies something shiny. Looks like something he wants to steal later. They come through town. Again, it's a very cramped town. Got some cramped sets here. Yeah, no offense against the filmmakers, but they could have spaced things out a little bit, in my opinion.
Well, no, I think this is a village in a like crevasse, so
right.
It has to be kind of packed in.
Yeah, I guess so. It's just a personal fault because I'm seeing it all too often in this show, and I don't mind leaving it in there and saying that. Every set seems like it's cramped up and everybody's kind of crammed together.
Population density is key. I've said it before and I'll keep saying it.
All right. I guess I can see it both ways. I like to kind of change my opinion sometimes to see a different perspective. Let's see. Mat and Rand don't really seem too out of place in this town, but everybody is kind of giving them the stink eye a little bit. Walk into the bar, greeted by Dana. She's played by Azuka Hoyle. She seems super cool. You know, when a character has a nose ring and they got to be kind of a cool character. She's got those eyes that kind of took my heart. I mean, I thought she had very interesting eyes. Let's just say that. And in comes the gleeman, Thom Merrilin.
Can I quickly say something for the listeners? When you said she's got very interesting eyes, you pulled your notebook up to, I guess, see if my eyes agreed with that. I don't know. Maybe it was just an involuntary reflex because
Dana is a quite beautiful bartender, I'll say. And those eyes, just like another character we'll meet later on in the show, she just had eyes that just kind of filled the whole screen up. And, you know, you throw the nose ring in there, too. You got a cool character. She seems cool and laid back, too. Not the gleeman. The guy singing this song here is Thom Merrilin, played by Mr. Alexandre William. This is the kind of guy that can hold the attention of an entire room with little to no effort. He plays in kind of like a angry / tired style, but he's pretty much an amazing performer. Not a great guitarist, but I mean, he knows exactly when to play and when not to play. I can't say anything better about this. I loved this scene. Before I get into the lyrics, James, did you love the scene as much as I did, or is it just me?
I think I just hated that dude in the beginning. And I said this earlier before we started recording that this episode is all about prejudice. That's that's a theme, especially in this last half,
right,
where things and people aren't what you heard or what you see of them. So I like that we are already getting off of like, yeah, this person's really cool. Oh, man, this person's a scoundrel. But then later on, we are made the fool for thinking that.
Right. So, yeah, this guy's lyrics are...
Wait,
please.
Can I say one more thing?
Of course.
Throwing shade at the dude's guitar work.
Oh, no, not throwing shade. He was very minimal with his guitar work. That's not what he was on stage to do, was play guitar. He was, it's his just presence that was no shade intended at all. He's probably a better player than me, but like I said, he knows exactly his limitations and how to play. It reminds me of, we were just listening before we recorded. We were listening to Kid Cudi's version of How Do You Sleep at Night, the Nirvana song. He does like a version of that too. And it does an amazing version. And Heather was like, I got to see how he does this last verse because, Kurt Cobain goes off on this last verse and screams. And when Heather tries to sing it, she throws her voice out. I want to see what Kid Cudi does. Kid Cudi just takes it low and just takes it chill. He doesn't try to sing outside of his range, and he uses his voice. There's no auto-tune because you can hear where he's fucking up. But it's just I think it's good to know your limitations and being able to like not overdo something that you can't actually do.
Man, the kids on Kids Bop should listen to what you have to say.
I know, kids, take notes. I took notes of some of the lyrics of his song. He talks about the world breaking. He talks about being a prisoner of his own making. I can relate. The Man Who Can't Forget is what the song is called. So automatically we know that the dragon is not Rand or Egwene because they both forgot about the berries. And if they were the man that cannot forget, well, they wouldn't have forgotten about that. The truth that is his pain. That made me think about Aes Sedai's, of course, and truth that is pain. Yeah. Did you have any thoughts about any of his lyrics or the song itself before we move on, James?
I did not.
Well, then we're going to take a break from Mr. Music, and we're going to hear some different music, sir. So, James, you can still hear me, right?
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you if I can take a break. I'm going to tell you, James, you sit right there, you shut your mouth, and you be quiet because we're going to break. And you're going to listen to this song, and when we come back, I'll tell you when you can talk. Do you understand me? And don't you say a word. Okay, thank you. Taking a break.
Improvise and improvise, it's the blind to that. It's the mind and the
We are back from break. James is still with me. I politely asked him to come back with me here, and he's back. Hi, James.
Hello.
Hello. We're being nice to each other again. And we were just listening to Utter Scorn. That's a one-man brutal death metal band from Los Asos. He's brutal death metal, but he's also a brutally nice guy. I got a t-shirt from him, which I still wear around all the time. I love this guy. You can find his stuff on Bandcamp. He's got his website and the link there. I got his stuff on Spotify. I'm sorry, but he would like you to go to Bandcamp and check out his album. How do you say this? Paroxysmal endemia.
That sounds about right.
That's the best I can do, Mr. Scorn. I got your back, though. I love this guy. He's working on 2 split albums right now, and he's going to be releasing one in the spring, one in the fall, and I think he has actually done some work with Astral Construct as well.
Hell yeah.
I could be wrong about that, but good God, I love the guy.
Is that utter as like, oh, I'm an utter disappointment, or like, hey, let's milk those utters?
It could be either. It is like an utter disappointment. Utter Scorn, yes.
I was just saying, I'm not saying the music's an utter disappointment. I enjoyed that. I'm just saying, in the context, I've never heard someone say like, well, that was an utter enjoyment. I enjoyed the music.
Hell yeah, I did too. I would... Hey.
Man, Mr. Utter Scorn's going to be saying, come over here, but not in the good way.
I know. I just dropped something. Did you hear anything drop?
Yeah.
Or has my voice changed, or has anything changed?
No. It sounded like a water bottle.
Perfect. We don't need water bottles around here because we're talking about Wheel of Time, Episode 3, A Place of Safety. Are we still talking about that, James?
Yes.
Okay, because I was talking about Utter Scorn for a bit there, and because I love him. I could just do an Utter Scorn podcast. He's got enough material, so I could do that. But we'll stick with Wheel of Time for
Utter
now.
Scorn? More like, I want some gutter porn.
Oh, fuck. Yes.
That's like some dad stuff. They're like, oh my God, when you're cleaning out the gutters and all of a sudden everything, it seems like it's clogged, but it all gets flushed out at once. Oh, that's some
Yep.
gutter porn.
Hell yes. I got to text him that immediately. Let's hold while I do that. So, yeah, we just finished listening to we finished listening to Utter Scorn, but before that, we were listening to Thom Merrilin's song, The Man Who Can't Forget. And he exits from the crowd. Everybody loves him. He comes up to Matt and Rand's table, asking for donations. And it appears that Matt got pickpocketed by some fellow. Thom pickpocketed the guy back and kind of flaunted that to Matt and then decided to hang on to that purse of money. Did I get that right, James?
Yeah, and screw all these people, because later on, he's like, hey, I got to get back home, Matt does. I got to get back home, whether I have to beg, something, steal, whatever he says. And what's-her-face goes, the bartender says, oh, I'd reconsider that last one because you'll end up in the cage. How come that dude who pickpocketed didn't end up in the cage?
Exactly. The pickpocketer should have been there, maybe even the gleeman for hanging on to the money. Mm-hmm. I guess because the gleeman kept his mouth shut because he knew that guy would get put in the cage for that offense. Mm-hmm. So maybe that was an honorable decision on Tom's part. Thom does not come across well. And
on that, when you go downtown, like in Chicago or probably all major cities, there will be some people on corners being like, hey, rap music, just like handing out CDs. But if you're like, oh yeah, I'll check this out, when you grab it, they're like, that's $5. And it's like, then you should be saying that in your pitch, like $5 for a rap CD, but it's to guilt people into like, oh, I took this. Okay, fine. I'll hand this over.
Same thing with like any kind of street performer. Like if you stop for a few minutes and watch and enjoy like somebody playing the trumpet or somebody playing like the bucket drums or something, you're expected to tip them. Like if you don't want to tip anybody, like being a street musician or a street performer, don't look at them and just walk right past them. Because if you stop and enjoy what they're doing, you pretty much owe them, for that enjoyment. That's what they're there for.
No, I don't know.
What I'm trying to say is I'm just trying to curb that behavior of like somebody standing there watching them for 5 minutes and then smiling, saying, "Oh, you're doing great," and then just walking off. I mean, that I think that leaves an impression on the performer.
Nah, I think if you're a street performer, you should understand, like, hey, I'm doing this out in public. If someone, it could be like, hey, I want to check this out. I don't have any cash on me. Well, I can't. So I think should be understood that some people will enjoy it. And if someone stops for 5 minutes, and that also, even if they're not going to pay, that will be like, oh, they're stopping, I'll stop as well. And then if there's a nice little group around you, that first person who might not pay will start that group, and other people will eventually pay.
Okay, yeah, point taken.
There's
take it all back.
During the summertime in Chicago, when I worked downtown and I would scoot around just during my lunch break on a push scooter, there was this like trio. It was a singer guitarist, someone on like a small drum kit, and then I believe someone on keyboards. And they would be near one of the bridges just rocking out. And I'm like, damn, they are really fucking good.
Yep. Anytime a Richmond show, a big Richmond show will happen, there's always, it seems like it's the same like 3 kids that show up with their bucket drums. And it's just bucket drums, but one of them has cymbals, one of them has like a bigger drum, and one of them has a smaller one, and they're fantastic. It's same thing. But yeah, they know exactly when to show up and when to do their thing.
Hell yeah.
Pretty smart. So I was going to mention in the fan edit of Wheel of Time, which is available on YouTube, what is it called? WOT fan edit. That's what you got to search up. This scene goes like this. Tom comes up to Matt and Rand, asks for a donation. Matt pats down his pockets. Notice he doesn't have his money on him. Tom turns around, gestures to the guy who just pickpocketed Matt, tosses the money to Matt, and says, a gift from the gleeman. In other words, like Tom saw the guy pickpocket Matt, pickpocketed the guy back, and then gave the money right back to Matt, which is more in the character of a Thom Merrilin than what we saw on this show.
How did they get that footage, or did they just make their own footage?
No, they just re-edited the footage around with what they had, and they have the audio, they have the video, and they can redo whatever they want with it.
Damn.
Well, not whatever they want, but that's exactly how they did it. Check it out yourself. It's on YouTube as a 1-minute clip. It'll take 1 minute of your time. WOT fan edit. Actually, I should put that scene in the show notes, so anybody listening can see that scene and see what a huge difference that makes. But then I guess the scene at the end wouldn't have played out the same.
Yeah.
We'll see how they do that in the fan edit. Matt's pretty pissed by this, rightly so. I'd be pretty pissed if I was Matt. They both go over to talk to Dana. They just kind of waltz into the kitchen. I've never done that. They'll just waltz into the kitchen and started talking to whoever works there. She's making the stew. Did you notice that she was taking all the leftovers from the patrons and like just dumping it right back in the stew?
Yeah.
Chopping up gross crap, putting in there. She's got a great style, though. They want to work for a place to stay, so she leads them over to the wood pile, leads them to their work. Matt digs her. He's checking her out. Rand lets us know that Matt actually prefers older women. He makes a reference to, like, I thought Moraine was more your type. So obviously off camera, Matt made some kind of mention that he digs Moraine to Rand or something, letting us know that Matt generally likes older women, but he'll make an exception for Dana. He also does not care to chop wood with Rand. We learned that Rand's not the only dickhead in this show. Matt says this is all a bloody joke. He drops this little knowledge. Egwene and Perrin are probably dead. And he says it like without much of a care in the world. I thought that was a quick turn of character.
Mm-hmm.
On the previously on, if you saw the previously on to this show, they show you Matt's mom saying, "You're a prick, just like your dad." And I think that's why that scene was here, because Matt is indeed a prick, just like his dad. Should I go on, or do you have anything to add there?
No, I took kind of minimal notes on this, or later on I'll have more, but I was just enjoying it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, me too. I mean, even though it was a big turn of character, it was interesting to watch Rand and Matt's back and forth, because usually I'm loving Matt and Rand is being douchey, and this was the exact opposite.
I thought it was. This was another case where I'm like, oh my God, guys! Just I hope how one party's like, well, we should go to the White Tower, and then because they're probably there, and then the other one's like, well, we should go back because they're probably there, but also like, why didn't you guys have this foresight of just going around to the moat? And I'm glad when Matt was like, oh, she wouldn't, why would you go there? She wouldn't do it for you. And then it gets cut to, hey, yeah, I'm doing this because I think even though he wants to go back home, he's going to do this for me. So they're both doing it for each other. And then they'll find out that, they're in love with each other.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you picked up on that and you're along for that ride. I was thinking the exact same thing. Matt makes it clear he's not going to clean any latrines. He's not going to wash anything. He doesn't wash sheets. He sleeps on them. He lies to say he's a horse trader with no horses. No one cares. I love how Dana puts him down right here. Mm-hmm. Just decides to make a public mockery of his lie.
Yeah.
That was a good choice. I think it was a good choice for her to make to get an endearment from Matt as well, because she probably knows that Matt's a wise ass, and she's like, yeah, a wise ass loves a wise ass. So she was just playing into that character. Let's see. He then decides he's going to help by serving drinks, so he serves exactly one round of drinks before he takes another break. Mm-hmm. Gets a small tip. For some reason or another. I don't know. The way that he and Dana were sitting there at the bar, all sweaty and close to each other, I got some real fuck vibes at that point. They're talking about real stuff. She's respecting that he left. And yes, she makes the point that don't steal or you'll end up in that cage as well. Am I moving on, James?
Well, she was just giving complete hey, everyone in this town knows me and thinks I'm gross, and I know everyone in this town and I think they're gross. I'm down to F. So please. And these boys are like, no, for one's just oblivious to the fact, or because he likes older women. And then the other's like, oh no, I'm in love with Nani. Is that who it is? Or Egwene?
It's Egwene.
Okay.
Egwene. Yeah, totally. And yeah, she has ulterior motives, of course. She's not just trying to hook up, but at this point in the show, that's what it appears. Mm-hmm. That she's just trying to do something different, trying to have some fun, and some different guys coming to town. It's perfect opportunity. So yeah, she's so psyched about it. She gives them a room upgrade. She's like, yeah, y'all can stay in this room. She assumes that they're a gay couple, and she's like, yeah, y'all can fuck in here and make as much noise as you want. At that point they just have a drink together. She's okay with drinking on the job. Are you okay with drinking on the job, James? You don't drink at all, but are you okay with inebriation on the job?
I generally am not, because you did ask the first podcast. Well, the second podcast idea that you had for us was to, what's it called? Listen to, do a stoner metal podcast well stoned. And I was like, I don't do that. But I convinced Nicole to do a watch along for Three Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain. I was like, would you want to be high while we do it? And we just don't tell anyone until it hits. So in a week from now, if you're a $10 patron over on patreon.com/MLM pod, you will hear. And I feel bad because most of the beginning is like, man, the music is so loud, I can't hear you or the vocals. And Nicole's like, it's fine, James. Like, I can hear everything. What is wrong? And then in retrospect, I'm like, oh, that's because of being inebriated.
Yeah, some jobs I think it's okay to be inebriated on. Like if you're a bartender in a tavern in the middle of nowhere, I think it's fine to drink on the job. Most jobs like cutting wood, like Rand was doing, you probably don't want to be inebriated while you're doing that.
I think it's okay to be tipsy, but I don't think it's ever okay to be shit-faced on any job.
Hell no. Oh my God, that's the worst. And yeah, I've been privy to that. Not personally, but I've been around shit-faced people at work. It's no good for anybody. So yeah, having a beer or two with one of our patrons, it's called networking. That's what you can tell their boss. So let's see. Next up, with Rand, that is, and Matt. Matt is approaching a corpse. Of course, he's approaching the corpse at night. It's pretty apparent he's there to rob it. Thom shows up as well. We get some real heavy Western music vibes on this. I told you I love the music in this show, and I do, but I think this harmonica was a bit heavy-handed. Tom's there to bury the guy, though, and we learn a lot in this scene. So yeah, before I get into some learning aspects, did you have any notes on this scene with Matt and Thom?
No, just that I'm glad they're showing him as a nice guy, and I don't know. After watching this episode, I like the twist of how they wanted us to perceive people and flipping the script, the juxtaposition.
Yeah, absolutely. They talk about that here. Thom can read people like a book. He knows Matt. He knows where Matt's from. They talk about the Aiel, the guy that was killed. And Aiel have this reputation as being vicious killers. Some people say they're as bad as Trollocs. And of course, Thom lets us know that they're just people, that this Aiel was not around to hurt anybody. He was just there. He was misunderstood by the town, and they taunted him, caged him, killed him.
Wait, is the Aiel... Okay, we're not to that storyline yet, but I'm just now piecing this together possibly. Are the people we end up meeting with Perrin and Nani or Egwene, are they that people, or it's a different people? Okay.
Those are the Tuathalan, and they're talking about the Aiel, and he makes mention, and they do like a nice insert shot of the red hair, and they say that, like, you know, they're known for their red hair. Anybody who has red hair is an Aiel. And who do we know in this show that has red hair? Can you think of anybody? No?
Oh boy. You have to remember, I watched this with like my tinted glasses on for blue light, so you just have to tell me who has red hair.
Well, everybody knows, but I'm going to tell you, James, just next time you watch, just pay attention to who has the red hair.
Just tell me who has the red hair.
Oh, it's Rand. Rand has red hair.
Oh, okay. Wait, he does?
He's a super pale, super redhead. Yes. He looks like Max Beasley.
I've always thought of him as like blondish, not red.
Oh, I think with the lighting job they do, they accent his red hair in some scenes.
All right. I've had this conversation on, I think this movie's gay. I was like, yeah, you know, that person has this color hair. And Corwin was like, yeah, I have blonde hair. I was like, Corwin, you do not have blonde hair. And he's like, yes, I do, James. I was like, I'm looking at your hair right now. There's some like blonde accents to it, but it is not, it's brown. And he's like, no, James, what are you talking about?
Maybe you should have an addendum in your rider. Anybody who works with me on a podcast cannot bring up the subject of color ever.
Of hair.
It can be color of hair. Yeah, because we got to talk about the colors of the Aes Sedai, of course. And you're going to have to take your glasses off at some point when you're watching this show, because they do put color tints on scenes to make you think, to reference a certain color during a scene, to accent a certain mood.
Most of the time I have my just like slightly tinted ones, and even with the lightly tinted ones, or I'm pretty sure if I remove them, I would still say Rand does not have red hair at all.
Thom says the Aiel are known for their red hair, and we know another character that has red hair definitely. His name is Rand. Okay, yes, we talked about the stories, the veiled Aiel. Matt needs money. We almost forget in the middle of this scene that this is the same guy that Matt knows has Matt's money in his pocket, but they're still having this conversation and talking about all this deep crap. Okay. Matt has his chick. Yes.
One of the scenes, like early scene, I'm seeing he has red hair. But then in another photo, a screenshot that I have, he does not have red hair. So sometimes it's brown, sometimes it's not. Like this picture I'm looking at right now, absolutely brown hair. And then pictures, illustrations, I'm guessing from Wheel of Time, he has straight up. And I truly hope this is not a spoiler that just by Googling Rand Wheel of Time.
No, because they made a point about that red hair, and it was very obvious that Thom ran his hands through the guy's red hair, and he even talked about red hair. I thought it was obviously a reference to Rand, but I could be wrong about that. I'm not wrong about that.
Oh, yeah, you know the show and the book, so he has red hair in the books, I will admit to that, but in the show, I don't know.
He and Corey, thank you for that admission. Okay, so Matt takes that cool crystal and takes a little cool wooden fox figurine. I liked it. We're going to take note of that Matt has that little fox figurine on his person now. And then Thom informs Matt after he robs him, well, if you're going to rob him, you're going to have to bury him. Mm-hmm. I think maybe if you told Matt that ahead of time, Matt might just kind of sauntered off and said later.
Does he take that rose quartz?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure that's going to bite him in the ass just as hard as the dagger is going to in the future.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he keeps picking up these items off dead bodies and off of haunted cities. Mm-hmm. It's not good stuff to carry around.
Can I guess how it will play out?
Sure.
They will meet this group of people, and this rose quartz is like an identifying factor of this group of people. They'll see that and be like, oh, the only way you would get that is if you had killed one of us. And then, Matt, you're in trouble. And now Rand, who I guess has red hair, is... wait, no, because then they'll see his red hair and be like, do you vouch for him?
You are... Man, yeah. I mean, those are obvious conclusions to make based on what we have here. Completely obvious. And then maybe Matt will pull that fox thing out and be like, hey, wait. I got this fox thing. And they're going to be like, that's even worse. You're even more of a son of a bitch than we thought.
And then he's going to pull out the dagger and they'll be like, please leave now. Get out of here. You have cursed us all.
We're going back to Rand and Dana. Rand is telling some fake stories to Dana, and he's not very good at telling fake stories. Dana dropped some good information here during this dialogue. We're talking about the Wheel of Time. We're talking about places she wants to see in their world, things like the Stone of Tear, the Lion Throne of Andor, an Ogre-Steading, maybe a Trolloc itself. She gets lost in the conversation. She wants to make out with Rand, and Rand, pretty quickly, moves back. And the mood switches real quick. There's a quick switch where she shuts the door. She makes a reveal that she has the braid in her hair just so she might remind Rand of Egwene. How do you know Egwene? Then shit gets really quick. Then shit gets real quick.
You got it, man. You got it.
Yes, I got this.
The
And
audience understands what you meant.
she pulls a weapon on the guy, holds him hostage there, and says that that's the reason they have the quiet room, obviously. She had a agenda here, and obviously her agenda was to make out with either Rand or Matt and keep them hostage in this room. And she says that she called a fade and that he's coming on their way to get them. I think she says this later, so let me not skip ahead. Yeah, I can't skip ahead yet. Right now, he's just trapped in the room, and we had that assumption that Dana was just this sweet homespun girl that, just liked to have fun and liked to run her bar, and she's been living there all her life, obviously. But she is not at all what she seems. Just like who was it? Was it Juice WRLD that said evil girls got the prettiest face? We're gonna go back to Matt and Thom at this point. Did you catch that when Thom said to Matt, may he always find water and shade?
I think I was mainly focused on when he said, "Hey, hope not to see you in a cage someday."
No, it was more like he said it to the dead Aiel. May you find water and shade in the afterlife or something like that. And I didn't know if you caught that farewell or not. And said, "Hey, water and shade." That's what me and Steve always say to each other because we're best friends. So,
you did okay. When you said I was shaking my head no, then I had my eyes closed, and then when you said best friends, I was shaking yes, and then I opened my eyes to see, oh, Steve didn't see that because he had his notebook in front of the camera.
I always ignore my best friends. I put like a big shield between me and them at all times. Sometimes it's a physical shield, sometimes it's a mental shield. We see that Matt slyly stole back from Thom because Matt asked Thom, "Hey, can I get my money back, by the way?" Tom's like, "Sure, why not?" But Matt, being the scoundrel that he is, has already pickpocketed right back it off of Thom.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
I thought he threw it back at him.
Nope. Let's see. Okay, back to Rand. Here's the important stuff. Rand turns into a friggin' He-Man, busts that door down, runs through town. Okay, he turns into He-Man, and then Dana turns into the T-2000. Did you catch that while she was running through town, looking dead at the camera with that face, and then with her arms like the T-2000? I thought that was a very unnecessary shot because we know she's just a girl in the town there. We know she's not some super villain. She's just a girl, but I don't know. I guess they had to hammer the point home that she is indeed evil and she can fuck it up. She says a bunch of crazy stuff. She says that she has seen the 5 of them in their dreams, and she says 5, and Matt says 5.
I don't want nerds coming at you in the comments. It is a T-1000, not a 2000.
Okay, well, nerds come at me. I got it close.
Yeah, you could say because it's from T2 Terminator 2 Judgment Day, bitch.
Yeah, I got it wrong with a purpose, okay? So let's see. Yeah, she says a bunch of crazy shit. She starts talking about Ishmael. She starts talking about the dragon, how the Dark One wants the dragon to break the wheel, wants the dragon to aid the Dark One, to work together. She's called an eyeless, and a fade is on the way. That's like one of those toothy face guys in his group of Trollocs. She's gotten on her cell phone and gave them a call, and they're on the way.
At this point, before she started, she was about to start revealing this, I'm like, is she an instrument of the Dark One? Hell yes.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that she was going to reveal that she was like one of the Dark One's minions right there, and that she might have been because they talk about reincarnation and coming back. And I was thinking maybe she's somebody that has come back, but she's a mortal. She is a mortal, I should say, because she got killed right there by Thom. But when she gets killed and she bleeds that blood, she bleeds some of that cool Dark Friend black blood. Did you notice that? Just like a Trolloc. So even though she was a little kid in this village, she was born there, like she became a dark friend, and that evil, I guess, festered into her being somehow, like physically. Did you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, so when she's like, oh, that's what the Aes Sedai make you think that we're going to kill you, but we're here to save. And I was like, yes, I'm vindicated. The Dark One is here to save, and the Aes Sedai want to continue suffering so they can sit up in their white tower looking over and ruling the world.
I had a feeling that you would feel vindicated with her speech there. I was thinking about you there, and I can't argue with that point. I cannot, and I'm not going to. So,
but hey, she finally got something hard inside of her, baby.
Yeah, baby. Too bad it was Tom's dagger, baby. They run off with Tom. They're going east. They're going east fast. Yeah. Do we have time to go into Egwene and Perrin's story here, James?
Yeah, I think we do. They don't do much.
Nah, not really. They run into the Tuathuan. Let me back up just a wee bit so I make sure I don't miss anything.
The wolves brought them to these tracks in the road, and they're like, I guess the wolves were taking us there. And they're like, all right, let's start heading out. Let's go this way. And then when they get to the base of a mountain, the Perrin's like, I'll go. And Egwene says, no. We go together. You don't need to protect me. It wasn't your fault of what happened. He's like, it is. And then a tear rolls down his cheek, and she hugs him. But you want to know what? If the adage, the saying is true, all's fair in love and war, well, I guess it's not his fault what happened, except I do believe that's an outdated term now, because there are war crimes now. And if you like go up to someone who's in a relationship and you're like, well, I like that person in the relationship, I'm going to try and break them up, I'm going to manipulate the situation, all's fair in love and war. No. It's not.
Yep. Yeah, and you brought up the fact that she said it's not your fault. It's not your fault. We know, of course, it is his fault. He even tells her so. He says it is my fault. So he kind of admits it to her, but not really.
I mean, I also don't think it's directly his fault. Like, that was just a bad place at the wrong time.
Right, but if that was me as Perrin, I would see that as my fault. Like, if I was driving my car and somebody ran in front of my car and it was their fault, and then I killed them, I would feel that was my fault.
Okay, that's a different situation. This is like, in the heat of battle, I'm gonna say it. She should have called out her name and said, like, hey, I'm behind you.
We learned that in Applebee's. Yes, you say behind you,
exactly.
Or corner, or yep,
hot
to your
plate,
left.
Things like that.
Hot body right here, Perrin. Watch out.
Actually, hot bodies, because there's two. There was a baby inside of her.
Oh, that's right. And those, somehow Perrin knows, like by looking at those wheel tracks, that there was like people. He could somehow deduce that there was like 4 people on the left and 3 travelers on the right. And I don't know how he was even making any of those assumptions, because maybe the wagon was just heavy, period, and it was empty. Well, he doesn't know anything.
There could have been foot tracks.
Don't mess up my joke.
Okay, all right, I won't.
I need you to, because I'm terrible at jokes, and I need you to cut me off at the pass.
I mean,
they run in. Yeah, you were saying they're at the base of the mountain. They run into these Tuathuan in the woods. First off, we got it's Maria Doyle Kennedy. She plays Isla, who is the female Tuathan who has those dreadlocks, and she was previously an Orphan Black, and she's always been an actress that I've always loved. So I'd love to see her in this role too. Even though I wasn't 100% impressed with this entrance, they make them say some kind of
The flesh is warm on the fire, and I don't know the song, guys. Yeah, this was weird because
they got to say this like platitude, and they got to ask this question and answer it correctly, and they're obviously starving. They're obviously like weak and need help, and they just have no frame of awareness. They being the Tuathan, except for Aram. He's like the guy with the short dreadlocks and the piercing eyes. I could not take my eyes off Aram. Yes,
unless they, if they're trying to make sure like Aes Sedai aren't around, they could be saying something that would be a lie. And it's like, hey, repeat this thing. And if they can't repeat it because there is a lie within that, they'd be like, okay, all Aes Sedai know the song. And if they say that, this is just me trying to make sense of a weird scene.
Yeah, I was right there with you, trying to make sense of this weird scene as well, because it just didn't play out right.
And to everyone, don't just, if you walk up to someone in the woods through fog, or even not in the woods, just like if you're out in an alleyway in a city and it's super dense fog, and then you say, hey, what's up? People are going to be scared. Make yourself known before the like haze is visible. Say like, hey, I'm in the fog. I hear you. I see you, I think is something we say on this podcast. And then they'll be like, okay, someone's about to come here. So then maybe once you're walking towards them, start describing yourself. Say like, hey, I'm wearing a Creature from the Black Lagoon t-shirt. I got red pants on, got very tinted glasses. And then you walk in and they'll be like, oh, I thought it was sunglass tinted, not blue light blocking glasses. Oh, sorry. I should have said orange tinted glasses.
Another really weird, odd scene was when they gave them food, and they just kind of sat there with the food in their lap, and then they like just waited for some arbitrary moment to start digging in uncontrollably. And that again was some weird direction from Mr. Wayne Yip on this episode.
No, I took that as them feeling uncomfortable around them, or feeling, oh man, we're going to have to repay this somehow, but we have nothing to repay. And when they say like, hey, we're here to help you, because you clearly need help, please accept our generosity and we're not going to ask anything in return. Then they're like, oh, okay, hell yeah, we're going to smash this food.
They smash that food. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is pretty much where we leave Perrin and Egwene, right?
I have one note on this. These people are being so generous. Perrin is still keeping this huge open gash a secret to everyone. He's been in pond water with that. You need it clean, man.
I mean, the wolf licked it clean one time.
I guess.
But I mean, I don't know if that was enough to, I mean, maybe we're supposed to like put our, our Wheel of Time hats on and just assume that healed the wound. I don't know.
Okay. Because
they don't say anything. They don't say anything else about it in the rest of this episode, though, do they?
No, but maybe in episode 4 we see that still gashed open. Because if he said something to Egwene, she isn't fully trained as a wisdom, but she could at least be like, "I'm gonna try my hardest to heal this," and it's worth a shot.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Because she. Being a wisdom's apprentice and just growing up in that village, Egwene already knows some tricks. So, she should already be able to help him out.
At least as well as a dog licking the leg.
At the very least, Jesus. You have a tongue, right, Egwene? Get to it.
Or ask someone for a bandage. It's just been gross That's chafing your wound.
I know.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Rubbing up and down on it. That's the worst. So yeah, we're gonna leave them for episode 3, hanging out with the Tuathan. I think I said that a couple times. They're also known as the Tinkers, and we learn from Aram, played by Daryl McCormick from the Vikings. I gotta say, Dana and Aram both like won my heart in this episode. They're like 2 of my favorite characters already.
Minnesota represent. Hell yeah, he's a football player.
No. The TV show, like,
I know.
Oh, you got me, you joker. So let's see. What else was I going to say about the Tinkers? That they have a bad reputation as well. Aram tells us that they're widely mistaken for scoundrels, and they just want to find the song.
Which seems like it was a 1-for-1 comparison with the Romani culture. It seems like.
Yeah, I would say that. So we're going to switch over to Nynaeve and Land. We don't have much for them, but we do see that Land leaves. Yes.
I just want to quickly confirm that they are good people, but people stereotype them as bad people. That's what I was saying. It was a 1-for-1, not like I wasn't being rude or racist there.
Oh, gotcha. I mean, I didn't take that as such. But
just in case other people are like, what is James going on about? Oh, my God.
Yeah. We're just going on some fun Wheel of Time talk here, y'all. Call us out if you need to. Actually, I know that people are listening, and I don't know who they are, though. So I need you to write in to sweetchildoftimepod@gmail.com or just check up the Instagram and say, hey, I listened. Because I know it's happening, but no one's saying anything about it yet. With the exception of, there is a couple of exceptions. Kiera Sadai, thank you for shouting out. And then I had Alvin as well. So they've reached out, but everybody else do so as well.
If you are listening to this right now, hit us up on Instagram, comment on the most recent episode post with, come over here.
Please do. All caps as well. We need it all caps. Yeah, Lan leaves Nynaeve with Moraine, and this is like the first time. I mean, Nynaeve has been faced with a bunch of crap already. It's only episode 3, but she's murdered and she's done all kinds of stuff. This is the first time we see her scared. Like, it seems like she is scared to be left alone. She's scared for Moraine. She's totally out of her wheelhouse here. She can't heal Moraine, so I think that is what she's most scared of, is that she is a wisdom and can't do anything about it.
I have this idea. You know how there's like based on TV shows, people make cookbooks based around like
Absolutely.
characters and whatnot? A lemon meringue pie. How do you think you could mix up a lemon meringue pie to include what she's about?
Lemon, that's all you need, because she's not a very smiley, happy person. She's pretty sour all the time.
Actually, I think on top you what do you call that when you
glaze,
no,
drizzle?
When you put a torch to it.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
Okay, I thought Nicole would know, but she's not here.
Yeah.
Do that on top because like she uses that fire magic and such. Mm-hmm. Or maybe put sprinkles on top? I don't know.
It would have to have some blue in there because she has a blue Aja. True and true.
Okay, then swirls of like a blueberry filling.
Lemon and blueberry pie sounds pretty delicious. Lemon moraine pie. The recipe will be available on sweetchildoftimepod.com.
We'll have to pay Nicole to make the recipe, and then also it would have to be gluten-free. I cannot eat it because it has lemon in it. So it would, unless if it's not gluten-free, Nicole cannot eat it, and it would just be a waste of food.
Yeah, we gotta get this straight. We got to get our notes together before we even begin this recipe. So let's do that off air. For right now, we'll get back to Moraine. Well, not to Moraine. She's pretty much unconscious this whole time. Well, she comes out of unconsciousness enough to recognize that she is being led to the group of sisters that are out there in the wilderness. Lan has found the other Aes Sedai sisters. Thank God. Or thank the light, however you want to say it. Thank Satan is what James would say.
The Dark One.
Thank the Dark One. We finally found the sisters. And the sisters have a surprise for us. Leandrin has just captured a man who calls himself the Dragon Reborn, and he looks like Jesus. So that is the end of our episode. Yeah, what did you think about that reveal?
He's too old.
He's too old by the standards that the prophecy fulfilled, but he's absolutely a man who can channel, and he's absolutely telling people that he's the Dragon Reborn. Most people deny that fact.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, that's where we end with this very intense looking Dragon Reborn. I wrote down his name somewhere, but he doesn't really play a big part in this episode. So I'm just going to skip that for now.
Do you think if someone was for real the second coming of Christ or the first coming, depending on your beliefs, do you think in today's climate they would tell people like, hey, I'm this person, or they would have to be like, ooh.
I would hope that they would be like wise and thoughtful, but I have this nagging suspicion that they would just blast Facebook with all caps and some kind of meme saying that I am him. And
actually, I think that would be the deciding factor. If you are doing that, you're clearly not. And if you're not doing that, you clearly are.
I agree. I don't know what the proper way to go about it. I would think like laying low and like letting other people speak for you, kind of the way Jesus did. That would be the proper way, but you're not going to get anybody's attention that way. We live in a society where you got to be snappy, baby. You got to get on TikTok and tell people what you're all about in 15 seconds.
Then all of a sudden Hellboy emerges and he's like, I'm here to protect Jesus.
Yes.
I think that's Hellboy seems like he would protect Jesus.
I could see Hellboy actually in the Wheel of Time universe, not like maybe, a time appropriate Hellboy, I would say. Hell yeah, Hellboy. But yeah, James, we finished talking about episode 3. We listened to Utter Scorn. We listened to Champagne Ranger. So now I'm going to listen to you, my friend, talk about your plugs.
Hey guys, go over to mlmpod.com to find out information about my podcast, like Mostly Speaking Sentai and Shuffling the Deck, plus so much more. While you're there, check out the Marshland Monster tab on the website. Listen to some of my music, download some of it. Or if you're like, hey, I don't want to download anything, I'm all about streaming, baby. Well, you can find Marshland Monster wherever music is found. Also, if you're so inclined to support me in the best way possible or help me buy that new Kirby game, go over to patreon.com/MLMpod, where you get exclusive podcasts. Over there, $5 a month gets you a podcast every single Friday. $10 a month gets you some bonus watch-alongs, and it's a real good time.
Heck yeah. You want to hear my plugs too, James?
Yes, sir.
Yay. Okay, I pretty much just have Intro Void. You can find me on Spotify. I have Intro Void Radio up now. Love listening to that. I love listening to my own music. I'm my own biggest fan. You can find me on Instagram at intro.void. Or you can just search Intro Void. You'll eventually find me. It's a little spaceship thingy and it's black and white. And please, if you're listening to this, then I ask you to drop us a line on my Instagram page, which is Sweet Child of Time Pod, which is at Instagram. Or I got an email, sweetchildoftimepod@gmail.com. Or while you're over there checking out James's stuff, if you say to Marshland Monster, hey, I like Sweet Child of Time, he will probably tell me, and then we'll have a good laugh about it. So yeah, let us know what you're listening to.
You can also, on the Marshland Media Discord, I'll send an invite link to you, to Steve, so you can put it in the description. We're talking about Wheel of Time on there as well, and rate us on Apple Podcast, and I believe Spotify podcasts now have a ranking and rating system as well, so give us a rating and a review.
Yeah, please do. And yeah, James just opened up a Discord for us recently. We haven't talked yet. I've put a meme up there. I think James said hello. We haven't gotten any chatter yet. Get on our Discord and let's start chit-chatting. Tell me how wrong I am. Tell me how much I talked over top of Titanosaur last week. Tell me how much I need to rely on James more for the jokes and need to keep the jokes to myself.
No.
Tell me all that stuff.
Keep them jokes
James
coming,
is shaking
baby.
his head no. Just tell me nice things. Make me feel good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say to my co-host and to my listeners here, I hope that everybody always finds water and shade in their lives. That was directed to you, James.
May you find water and shade in your life as swell.
Swell. And until next week, we're here at Sweet Sweet Time of Child pod.
You got it.
Saying goodbye.
Bye.